Hubbardston Board of Select Board, meeting, December second, December 2nd, 2024, at 6:30. Is there anyone here for open session? Okay, go to you, Katie.
Alright, so this weekend starts a bunch of stuff. First of all, we start the light fight. That starts December 6th. I'm working on the list. I have a bunch of people. I'm working on trying to get the maps and everything together, along with getting my yard together. So that will be out on Friday. The Google map and the voting, all that stuff will be online, and you will be able to pick up a paper listing and a paper map at the gas station in the center of town. So, anyway, this Friday, 5 to 9, the light fight starts, and it's the first 3 weekends, Friday, Saturday, Sunday of December. So the first full weekend. So it goes through December 22nd, and then December 23rd is the last day you can vote, and we will announce winners after that. On Saturday, there's a lot going on down here. There is the gingerbread fair across the street at the church from 9 to 1. And then the Christmas fair is here at the senior center from 9 to 3. So you come by and hit both of them. There'll be stuff out on the patio and Hunter Stew, and they always have across the street, they have a lot of wreaths, and they usually have food as well, but they have a lot of different vendors and local crafters and things like that. Raffle baskets are here. Across the street, they have I want to say fudge, maybe some pies for sale. They got lots of stuff. Either way.
Raffle.
Huh?
Quilt raffle.
Quilt raffle, yes. Quilt raffle is usually across the street. But either way, come down to the center and hit both. The gingerbread fair is 9 to 1. The Christmas fair is 9 to 3. And then also, in the evening, there will be a free concert. The Pioneer, I can't even read my own writing. Oh, God.
Brass band quartet.
No, Pioneer Valley. There you go. I can read my writing now. Pioneer Valley Brass Quintet. Quintet. There's 5. Quint. It's quint. Quintet. Anyway,
We're functioning today.
that is at 5:30, and again, it's across the street at the church, and the concert is free. So it's a ongoing long-term grant or something that has to do, the church can tell you all about it, but I'm pretty sure it has to do with the leftovers of the Quabbin Reservoir being filled. They put some surrounding money in. Yeah, it's a long-term thing, and like goes on forever. I have no idea. Anyway, it's a free concert, so show up. Again, that is Saturday at 5:30. And then on the 14th, the next Saturday, we have Santa all over the place. So first we start out with Brunch with Santa, and that's over here at the school from 10 to noon. We ask for, I think it's $20 to come in the door. There's food, there's crafts. Bring your camera, take plenty of pictures. We do a beautiful backdrop with Santa, and we have the real Santa because, you know, everybody needs the real Santa. And come 10 to noon, Brunch with Santa. Then, all day, Santa's going to be driving around town on a fire truck, because who doesn't want Santa to stop at their house? So you can hit up the fire department to sign up. Sign-ups are due by the 6th, which is what, Wednesday?
They changed
Friday.
it. Did you see their most recent post?
Yeah, the
Okay,
6th.
perfect.
Yeah, I wrote that down. The 6th, so it's this Friday. For sign-ups, and you have to drop off a prepackaged toy and everything so Santa can bring it to your house, and usually there's some elves along the way, and they give you the time that they can fit you in their schedule by the 11th, I think, or something. But anyway, it's all on their Facebook page, and that's Santa on the fire truck. Then, if you haven't had enough Santa, we got one more time that day. So Santa will be back at the bandstand from 5 to 7, and you can go up there for free and take your pictures with Santa. He'll be hanging out up there. The Lions do that one, and they usually have like free coloring books and things like that. But that's at the bandstand from 5 to 7. So if you just want to just show up with Santa, you got older kids or whatever, that's a good spot to get the pictures done there. And I think that is it for Christmas time, because I'm done, except for whatever she's got going on at the library.
Okay.
Frozen assets, do you wanna touch, are you skipping that one?
Well, Frozen Assets doesn't usually start till January.
Yes, but you touched on it last
Okay,
time, someone
alright,
might thought
fine,
it already fell
fine.
through the ice.
I know, Frozen Assets. So Frozen Assets will be starting in January. I usually do put the things in the stores in the end of December, just to get them out there. But, the guest forms will be in all the local stores. It is a contest where the outhouse, we put the 2D outhouse up on the pond up at, Williamsville Road in front of the Country Hen. And we all take guesses on when the outhouse will actually fall through the ice. The outhouse goes on the pond in the beginning of February, as soon as ice allows it to be dumped on the pond. But the guest forms are in local stores, and it helps encourage people in the worst time of the year to go into the stores and maybe buy a cup of coffee or get a donut or a pizza, or just at least go in and say hi to the shop owners, because, you know, January is the worst time of the year for shop owners, so it is here to get people in the stores on their hardest month out of the year. So anyway, okay, that's all I got.
So as always, Katie and her family did a wonderful job with the tree lighting last night. Jeff did a wonderful job leading the countdowns. So besides
I could hear it.
controlling the weather, and it was real cold, Katie and the Youngs did amazing. It was well attended.
Yeah, thank you to the DPW for bringing up the stuff, and Rick and the Swinging Singing Seniors for coming along with Santa, because Santa comes everywhere. And who else? Jeff, Nate came out, and just everybody that came out and sang with us, because, you know, we need people to come out and carol. So. It's
Thank
good
you.
stuff.
Are there any other announcements? Tricia?
Yes, and if we just needed one more thing on Saturday.
Okay,
it's
which Saturday?
Saturday story time.
Which
This
Saturday?
Saturday.
Oh, it's on the 7th? Okay.
Yep.
You drop your kids
Yes,
off with
every
you,
day.
and then you go.
Yes, if the
Free
kids want, if
babysitting.
adults want to go do things at the fair, they can come to story time and hang out with me. And then poor Santa, he's really making the rounds on Hubbardston. Hold on a second. December 11th, we're gonna do story time with Santa at the 10 a.m. story time. And Dungeons and Dragons is this Friday. Instead of actually playing Dungeons and Dragons, they're making fantasy maps. So if Dungeons and Dragons is not your kid's thing, they prefer to craft, we have that available as well.
There you go.
Okay.
But
Thank you.
Saturday story time.
Any other announcements or reports? Thank you very much. Item 4, we have a tax classification hearing, and we have the assessors here. I'll turn it over to you, Steve, and you can take it from here.
I'm gonna give it to Rob, because he's done it before, I'm gonna learn.
Alright, good evening everyone, my name is Robert Heckman. I've been the assessor here from Regional Resource Group for the past 2 years. We are in the process right now over the past month of turning the reins over to Steve Boucher.
Yes, we have.
Steven's been with us for about a month learning, and he has about decades of experience with real estate and appraisals and a lot of assessor adjacent work, and I think he's gonna be a great fit out here in Hubbardston. He also lives here in town too, so
Oh,
you get a local.
nice.
Great. And then we have Alfonso here from the board sitting with us. So yeah, it's that time of year again where we go through the process of determining whether we're going to keep a single tax rate or vote on whether we keep a single or move over to a split tax rate. I like to put together these little packets just to kind of give a lot of information, I guess, in case anyone wants to look through them. So I'm gonna kind of skip through here and there. If anyone watching wants a copy of this, we have them in the office, then they can request one, and if anyone has any questions throughout, then feel free to ask and we'll address them. So prior to the mailing of the third quarter tax billings, the Hubbardston Select Board will hold a public hearing, which we're doing currently, to determine the percentage of the town's property tax levy to be borne by each major property class. This responsibility and procedure are described in Chapter 40, Section 56 of the Massachusetts General Laws. Budgetary and assessment steps leading to the classification hearing are summarized below in the packet provided. Also provided is information about the town's levy limits, property assessments, and recommendations by the Board of Assessors. So in this section, steps in setting the tax rates, we've currently already done steps 1 through 3, which is determining the property tax levy, determining the assessed valuations, and tabulating the assessed valuations by class. And we are currently tonight doing step 4 through 6, which is the classification hearing presentation, determining the tax shift options, and ultimately voting for a tax shift director. So this year for the levy, and the tax levy is the amount of property taxes to be raised by the town. The levy amount is determined ultimately by the budget. The total amount of the approved budget, less revenues from other sources like motor vehicle excise, municipal fees, and state aid, is the amount to be raised from property taxation. And in Hubbardston, the levy to be raised this year is estimated to be $8,765,054, which is an increase of $341,656, or 3.9%, over the last fiscal year's levy of $8,423,398. We had a great year for new growth again. New growth numbers for revenue are looking like $134,215. A lot of that can be attributed to the new growth and new construction that's been going on around town. And we also have an additional $26,060 of amended new growth. A lot of this is growth missed in 2024 at the time of submission to the Department of Revenue that we're able to pick up and have revised in the spring.
So you said that was in addition to the 134?
Yes. Yep, below that's just some more fiscal 2025 levy limit information, and then we'll move to the next page. I like to provide an image of the LA4, which is what we submit and have reviewed by the Department of Revenue and ultimately approved. It's just a nice visual of the amount of parcels we have in town and how those parcels are distributed amongst the property type. So valuations by class before the tax shift. Currently in Hubbardston, for residential, it's 93.61% residential. And for CIP, which stands for commercial, industrial, and personal property, that's 6.39%. Changes between 10 to 12% on each of the different classes between residential, commercial, industrial, and personal property all increase.
Rob?
Yes.
We don't have any personal property, do we?
Yes.
We do personal property tax?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. All right, on the next page, we have shifting the tax burden. We like to include this in here, this little blurb at the top. Municipalities with a large commercial industrial tax base often see fit to shift the tax burden to help maintain lower residential tax rates. Hubbardston, like most Massachusetts small towns, has chosen not to shift taxes in the past, and it's important to note that a shift does not necessarily create more revenue, it just divvies up the pie on who pays what. In order for the town, so the town would have to elect a 6% shift to keep residential taxes equal to last year, which would significantly increase the burden on commercial, industrial, and personal property classes. It's important to note too that chapter land is part of CIP, and making any type of shift factor would have a significant effect on farms in the community and people involved in chapter land.
So if we had a split rate, the farms would be paying more?
They pay the
Correct.
commercial rate.
They would pay at the commercial rate.
That's not right.
So, next we have tax rates. So fiscal 24, we had $11.79. The tax rate for fiscal 25 would be $11.68. So it's an 11-cent lower rate, but of course valuations keep continuing to climb. There's always that ebb and flow between the rate and the valuations. So as far as the split rate tax impacts, the residential valuations have increased to 2.8%, reflecting the positive real estate market. That's been the case for the past few years. And we like to include this single rate option over year by year. So last year, the average single family residential valuation was $403,232. This year, the average is $412,176. That's actually pretty modest in comparison to a lot of the other towns in Massachusetts. It's not too crazy of an increase. And as far as dollar amount on the taxes, last year average was $4,754. This year, $4,773. So you're looking at $19 increase on average for the taxes.
Do you have a number of average houses in town?
Yep, so on the LA4, this one right up top, the 101 property type. Yeah, that page right there. You see 101 up there?
Yep.
So that's gonna be all single-family residences. So
So
there's,
that's an average of all the single families put together, and you average it out over?
1,470.
with the new tax rates. Yep, 1,470. So that's where we get those figures for the averages, just to show what the increases would be. So as far as the split rate options, just to reiterate, a single rate across all property, continuing the current adopted classification policy for the town would be $11.68 per $1,000. A split rate implemented for residential properties decreases the residential rates to $11.53 per $1,000, which would be a savings on average of $62 per residential property, but that would in turn change the rate to $13.78 for commercial, industrial, personal property, and chapter, and would increase on average $826 to their tax revenue annually.
And that's including the farms now, right?
Correct.
Mhm.
That includes
So,
all the
Rob,
chapters.
so you have that number here of 6.39% that, makes up those different pieces of the pie. What's the breakdown of those pieces within that pie? So I just don't know my codes.
Yeah, no, it's fine. So, everything that is not from 111 to 101 here. So
Okay.
as far as the codes go, commercial
Right
is
here.
the 300s.
Oh.
Commercial's 300s, the industrial is gonna be the 400s that you'll see here. Chapter lands are multi-use codes, so those are excluded from the residential codes.
Okay, so you have about 27 commercial properties, 12 industrial properties.
Yep, and then the 450s for solar.
So 5.
Yep.
So I just wanna point these numbers out so people know these are small numbers. And then can you explain just the chapter land's broken down, but there's also 2 numbers in each of those blocks.
Yep,
So I
so
don't know which one to look at.
So that just depends on the type of chapter,
Okay.
and whether it's a multi-use property or not. Multi-uses, meaning a residential property with commercial being chapter attached to it, as opposed to just a parcel that is strictly, chapter. So meaning, you know, if you had a home and then you have 10 acres of forestry attached to it on the same, parcel. And then the 500s, that's all personal property.
I have one question,
Accounts.
please. So now that they've passed, that I can build an in-law suite on my property if I wanted to.
Not until February.
Okay, well, when they do, all right, thank you. Is that taxed as a separate, or is it all part of one property?
So that's something
It's
that.
an accessory use dwelling, right?
Yeah.
Is that what they call?
Yep, that's something
Okay.
that we'll look into. I don't have an answer right now on how each town's going to determine, you know, whether it's going to change the property type or how they're going to swap that with it being, you know, is it going to be an accessory use dwelling and maintain its standing as a 101 of a single residential with that, or if it's going to be moved over to, you know, a 2-family or a 3-family.
And this law that they passed, is it just family members that can live there, or is it anybody?
That depends on the town zoning.
Okay, so zoning, so if you, okay,
You can't require it to be owner occupied.
you can or you can't?
You may not require
Okay.
it to be owner occupied
Otherwise,
in
it's
the
not
current
an
rules.
accessory use to the primary property. So, I mean, I would think that, you know, like a detached garage, why wouldn't it be taxed or something like that? That's what I would think they'd had, probably.
Yeah, I know a lot of that too is up to how the town determines what an accessory dwelling unit is. I think anything too that would come up in question with that deserves a review, and
Yeah.
at least a field review to determine, you know, entries and how exactly it's attached and what's, you know, a part of that attachment, whether they have a full kitchen.
Yeah, and one problem in this town
bathrooms.
is, you put an accessory use, you're putting in a new septic system. Because you can't tie in the one that's there, cause that's designed for the house that's already there. So, I mean, it's crazy money.
Yep, and then Title V inspections will have to come in to determine exactly what's allowed within the septic.
Yeah.
I think it's kind of a case-by-case basis, at least until things are hashed out entirely for what a town wants to do.
It's good if you have city sewers, you just tie in.
Mhm.
We don't have that.
Rob, can I ask one more question?
Sure.
So as far as new growth goes, do you happen to have the trend over the past few years of where new growth has been?
I don't have a figure on me. We can definitely provide you with as many years previously. The past 2 years have been significantly higher. Last year, because we had the audit from the state, we were able to really take a deep dive on every single property in town and see what we could scrape up. And this year's just been a reflection of a lot of good construction being completed, and also things that we were able to pull from the past with the amended growth, that we didn't have in time for the Department of Revenue.
Heather, there's a 10-year look back in the financial forecast from last time. I can print it for you if you like.
I was just curious.
180, 150. It's been,
Oh, it's been relatively high.
Yeah, so the Board of Assessors recommends that the Select Board adopts a residential shift factor of 1 with a corresponding CIP factor of 1, thereby maintaining the relative shares of overall tax burden borne by the residential property owners in the past years. Based on the above assumptions and maintaining the existing single rate tax policy with a single rate, the estimated levy to be raised by taxation would be $8,765,054.
Any questions? Excuse me.
I need a job.
Need a side hustle.
I do. Can't afford to
No,
live in
no
this
questions
town.
coming from anybody have questions from out there? All right, then, I'm required to read this anyway, so, it's a suggested motion. I move that the Hubbardston Select Board votes in accordance with Mass General Law, Chapter 40, Section 56, as amended, percentage of local tax levy which will be borne by each class of real and personal property relative to setting the fiscal year 2025 tax rates, and set the residential factor at 1 with a corresponding CIP shift of 1, pending certification of the town's annual tax recap by the Massachusetts Department of Revenue.
So moved.
Okay,
Second?
motion's made and second. Any further discussion, question? Okay, no one's on Zoom. Chris just isn't here, right? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstention? Okay, motion's passed. We thank you very
Mr. Chair.
Yes.
I don't know if anyone's recognized him, but I'd like to thank Assessor Board Member Alfonso for joining us this evening.
Thank you. And now we're gonna meet you Wednesday to sign this. Finalize the tax rate.
Yeah, we'll see you Wednesday.
Okay.
We'll be around.
Thank you.
We'll be in the neighborhood, thank you.
That's it?
Alright,
That was it.
Thank you
great,
both.
thank you.
Thank you.
Get out while you can.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah,
Got it. Me and my colorful paperwork.
I do.
That wasn't a,
That wasn't a joke. I want to put together a meeting. I'm not talking about it.
yeah, well, I'll call you tomorrow or Thursday.
Whatever works. I'll just show you what I'm thinking.
See you
We
Wednesday.
can go down to the new building.
Oh.
Yeah, see you at the house, see you tomorrow.
You might wanna shift either to
One
here
day better
or
Do you
here
wanna
now.
come hang out with
Morning,
me? I'll-
Practically every day.
If you
It's
would
been
like,
an absolute
I mean,
mess.
That way you can see
So-
the screen.
Yup.
yeah, I won't get a sore neck.
Bye,
Thank you.
guys.
Bye, Rob.
Well, good night.
Thank you. Geez, you're awfully helpful today.
Very accommodating.
Yes, you are.
It's the least I can
Are you
do.
guys back at the table?
Come have some chocolate with us.
No.
No. No.
I had an Oreo today and 2 of these chocolates already.
Okay, we'll move on to item 5.
You gotta have an eye, God.
Winter Operations Plan 2024-2025. Travis Brown's he's on Zoom, he'll make their presentation. So Travis, you there?
Yes, I am.
Okay, we'll turn it over to you. Go ahead.
All right, well, this is another year. We're in the beginning of winter, and I usually run this plan. People that have been here and seen this plan come up every year for me. Just a little bit of change, not much, all pretty much the same. I will go over the parts that have changed a little bit, and
Travis, 1 second. I'm going to bring up the plan. Go ahead.
all right. Really don't. There's quite a bit to the plan, so I'm not going to read through the whole plan.
Yeah.
Thank you.
There's a lot.
I'm just, one thing which is nice is that the town of Hubbardston has a plan. A lot of towns do not have one. So, in the process of that, there's a lot that goes into it. and including during, before, during, and after a storm. So some things that we look to improve on this year, we actually had gotten a couple of AI weather cameras that monitor certain sections of road for us. They give us the air temperature, the road temperature, and they give us warnings when they see snow, icing, and stuff like that, which helps us better prepare to do what we need to do. We are also this year, we are using straight salt along with our treated salt. I kind of wanted to do this a while back, but we really don't have the storage, so I'm trying it by using half and half in the shed that we have. So as of now, the treatments that we've been putting down have been straight. So by doing this, it's $20 cheaper a ton, and like we used to per treatment. And by doing this, we can do it. We've had, while the temperatures are as warm as they are, we'll use to treat it as the temperatures go up. All of our trucks are equipped with electronic spreaders and calibrated every year. This helps us maintain good operation of what we put out, so we're not over treating and not under treating. Each truck is equipped with ground temp sensors. This helps us, along with the trainings the guys have, understand the road conditions and how to treat them. Along with that, we also have segmented blades, meaning there's 11, because it's 11-foot plow, there's 11 sections that are 12 inches wide that move individually. They're not a solid blade, so it gives you an actual better scraping of the road. So each truck is equipped with this. They've been equipped for a few years. The guys that are using them can tell the difference if and when they ever had to switch back over to a steel blade on an emergency if we had a problem with the plow. So the guys really like them. They can see the difference of what they do. I think just seeing how the roads are done during the winter operations between different towns, you can see the difference. I was kind of excited by using the street salt this year because it just cost-wise and environmentally wise, anything that you can cut back on putting mag into the, even salt in general, but mag, any type you can cut back on chlorides, the better off. So we have numerous trainings throughout the year, all the guys that help us through the winter operations, so they understand how to maintain roads on their routes. So I had the cameras as one update. I had the non-treated salt as another. And I'm also looking into, I'm in the works with them now. It's Precision Weather. It's actually a more one-on-one with a meteorologist that I can call at any time to help me with any type of weather that's coming, helping with starting, helping with in the midst of it, and when it's going to end. With all these tools in our toolbox, helps with everything between coming in when we don't need to be in and treating where we don't need to treat. So all in that is cost savings. And let's see, we'll go over. One thing I want to go over is we do have a winter awareness flyer also with this program, and we've handed it out at the fair when we are there. But the, something that the residents should look at and have, there's a lot of,
Yeah, we got it a half hour ago.
so there's a lot of numbers on there for residents, a lot of information, especially stuff that a lot of people want to know and should know prior to the winter season. A lot of the bylaws about not parking on the roads, keeping trash barrels off the road during the storm. That's probably the best one there because the trash guy's not gonna come get your trash in during the storm. It's just gonna end up all over the place, as best as we try not to touch them, so.
Travis,
We can
that'll be
do
up
that.
for the people on the website tomorrow.
Yeah, the basketball hoops that are in the road definitely need to be moved. And, all that is in the awareness. So really, between the cameras, looking into the weather station and switching a little bit into the straight salt, I think we'll have a good year.
So Travis, can I ask you a question on those cameras?
I don't know if you're
Sure.
interested.
How many cameras do you have?
Two,
You have two? Are they right by the DPW or are they in different spots for the town?
they're on each end of 68 right now,
They battery powered or solar?
solar powered, cellular.
Okay, cool. Is this and this is the first year we're using them?
Correct.
That's pretty cool.
Was it a grant?
I looked into them, these were the lesser of the expensive ones that were there. They do what I'm looking for. Unfortunately, there was an accident at 62 and 68 that hit the pole that my camera was on, so I'm waiting to get another pole. But what they do is, there was one thing that was kind of, you wouldn't have thought it was unless you've seen it, and I had shown the officers, because I showed them a snapshot of it. But at Route 68 and 62, when the accident happened, the roads were black, but on the camera, because it was down on the ground, all it was snow, because it was snowing really hard up there. So then I switched over to Gardner Road and looked there, and it was perfectly black and not snow. So, total different situations on total different ends of town. I really wanted to put a couple more, but this is really a trial right now to prove that they are a money saver. And that's where we start.
So on those AI cameras, I just have a couple follow-ups because I'm nosy. So, no other reason, I think it's awesome to leverage any tool we can. I assume they don't send you an alert when something changes, it's more so when you're periodically looking to see what's going on, especially when you're anticipating inclement weather, they're just an aid so you don't have to send a body out.
Now they send me alert. That's why, that was another reason why for them. They let me know when it's starting to snow. They let me know when the snow is covered on the ground. Depending on what I have for warnings, which you kind of have to watch out, because I took some off. As they beat me all weekend on dry roads, so I took them off. And icy roads. So I mean, I can see by the temp and stuff like that, and we watch that. Ice-wise, at this time, we have brine on the road. That's the white that you see there from the last treatment that we had. So, I'm not really worried about what we got going on. It's just looking to better off, because what happens is just over the years, for an example of why I decided there's certain ends of town in Hubbardston that are colder and warmer than other parts. And unfortunately, when we bring the guys in to rest for a bit, I go out and I walk out onto 68 right at the garage, and I'm waiting for it more or less to get to a plowable snow. And by that time, when we get in, we find sometimes when we get down to Gardner or even up to Rutland, there's much more snow at those ends of town. So if we would have known that prior to, we would have been out a little early. And so this is all to make, obviously, roads to be, passable, reasonably passable, during a storm. So in the midst of that, if we can use anything that is at our fingertips, that's what I'm trying to do, so.
How do the AI weather cameras work when it's like a blizzard condition? Do they still have the ability to see and have visibility, or is it kind of like your windshield where it's just completely snow covered?
Cause I could see it snowing really hard and, through the cameras. So, I mean, that's what they're set up for and that's what they're made. That's why the equipment show we go to every year, I take the guys over there, and this is actually where we saw that. So we come up with ideas on trucks that we see that people have done. We possibly build and put them on ours or look for it to get for ours. But this is just, and showing you what we do when we do go to these trainings or this show. We've found lots of ideas to do from this show, and this is one.
Travis, on the cameras, is the monitor at your office, or also is it at your house?
It's on a cell phone.
It's on both.
Oh, on
It's on my cell phone, and it's on the regular computer if I want to put it on the computer.
Okay, thank you.
I almost cringe to ask, how much are they?
They gave me a deal on 2 for starting, which is $3,000 for the year.
Okay, so we don't actually own the camera.
No, anything happens to them, they send me any part that I need, just like the camera went down. They sent me the solar panel and a bracket for the back, because it bent when it went down, but the camera was fine. He was ready to send me a new camera, but he didn't. I actually put the other camera up on Gardner Road, and when I installed it, for whatever reason, it was just cloudy, so they sent me a whole new camera and put it up. So there's no cost other than the $3,000 a year to maintain cameras. So and I looked at it, so $3,000 for the year, just that alone to stop one of us coming in to treat or anything like that, you're looking at $1,900. Now, if you do that a couple times, you've already paid for the camera.
Well, that's what I was gonna say, we should have a camera at every end of the town. I mean, maybe we should.
I wanted one on New Westminster down near the line. You
Yeah.
gotta have some type of ambient light, so it helps with the night vision.
Yeah,
So there's not much light around town. So,
agreed.
I do have it. It's over across from, on Gardner Road.
Yeah,
And the other one's at the intersection of 68 and 62.
yeah,
I wanted it down at the Gardner line, but there's no lights,
yeah,
all. So, and I wanted it down Rutland end, there's no lights at all.
yeah.
So I had to pick my poison, because I really would like some on Williamsville. And even I was talking with PD on that, and they had mentioned the same thing. It'd be nice to have something down there like that.
Well, a couple of solar flagpole lights will take care of that for $30 for 2 of them.
Mm. But, I mean, I liked it because they didn't hook to any power, they're all
Yeah.
self-sufficient.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Again,
Um,
actually, in the summertime, you can actually, and other towns do that, is they can take the camera and put it on a job site to watch the job site.
yeah,
So, I mean, they're multi-purpose, they're not just necessarily for winter, and, you're able to use them other places.
now, one other question, and I'll finish, for myself anyways. When you looked into these, you say they're multi-purpose, but let's say for each snow and whatever else, did they give maybe an estimate on per camera, the average savings per camera?
If you just divide it, it's $1,500 a camera, which is cheaper than what they're going.
So what it's gonna save the town, rather than sending a truck out with, whatever you put on for salts, 10 ton, 6 ton. Is there any,
Right.
does the company have any kind of formula where it figures out the
No.
average?
They don't know what you pay, you gotta take everything, you gotta take your fuels, wear
Right,
and tear on the
So,
fuel that goes up,
I mean,
employee.
I figured they might have some formula on their website that'll tell you how to figure it all out, and that's how you explain the
Broke
expense.
it down.
Maybe too many variables.
We'll
you know?
figure it out, our minds are going
It's the
crazy.
weather
thinking about
alone.
grants
We're
right
passing
now. That's
notes
what-
over
that's what
here.
drives us nuts.
Yeah, so I'm just curious,
Yeah.
I mean, if a $1,500 camera a year is gonna save you more than 1,500, why wouldn't you do it, right?
I started out with 2.
Right.
to see how they are.
Yeah.
I didn't go and mask the town and have a $6,000 or more bill out
Yeah.
there.
No, it's
Doing is
understandable.
test them to make sure that
Yeah.
they are gonna work for the town.
Mr. Chair.
Yeah.
Travis, I just want to publicly acknowledge once again that your thinking outside of the box is really, really appreciated in ways that it saves money. With between the brine last year and this, which pretty much paid for your $3,000 plus,
Yeah.
and this year, it's really appreciated that you are thinking outside of the box, thinking of ways to save a little bit here, a little bit there. That really does add up. Your work is appreciated, and I just want to put that out there publicly.
Yeah.
Thank you. Right.
I have one, I'm sorry, I lied to you, I have one more question. Salt price compared to last year, or I don't know, when do you fill your salt barn? In the summer?
I felt it's full before the end of the season.
Before the end of the season, so you won't know till, I mean,
So I start with a full shed every year.
I'm just curious what the price of salt is going for a ton these days.
So right now, it went down from last year.
Excellent,
I think it was 97, we got it at 94 right now for treated,
yeah,
and for untreated is 74, so it's a $20 savings there.
okay,
So in other words, if I treat the town, which takes 20 tons of salt,
yeah,
with treated salt, it's gonna cost me $18.80,
yeah,
and with treated salt, it's gonna cost me $14.80.
okay, excellent, thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions? That's pretty much all I got for this report.
How's the salt brine unit working?
Everything's working
Well, the
good.
brine
We haven't had to use it yet, but,
No, I understand that.
Knock on wood.
And, you have a full complement now?
Close.
Bill, what?
If your, employees,
Staffing,
are you missing anybody?
Have one going for a physical tomorrow. If everything works out, then I will have a full crew, and then I'll have some people coming in to help train, during plowing events, to make sure that they're doing it the way, we do it.
Don't say it too loud.
Thank you, Travis.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Travis, appreciate it.
Oh, no problem, anytime.
Anything further for tonight? All right.
Have a good night.
You
Thanks,
too, thank
Travis.
you.
Night, Travis.
That's just super cool.
what, the AI cameras?
Yes.
It's awesome, I had
Are you
no,
making notes over there, Heather?
I had no clue
You
about
could
it.
probably do-
Next thing you know, we'll see him popping up in Paxton.
What? No.
Okay, moving
That's a
on
great
to
idea.
item 6, we have a consent agenda.
Regionalized cameras.
We have 2 sets of
Regional
minutes, select board minutes, the meeting on October 21st, 2024, everybody was there. And the meeting November 4th, 2024, everyone was there. And that's it for the consent agenda, so could we have a motion to, unless anyone has any holds on this or questions?
No, I'd like to make a motion to accept the consent agenda.
Second.
Motion made and second to accept the consent agenda, any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Yes, opposed, abstained, motion passed, thank you. New business. Moving to administrative matters,
Pages forbidden.
the authorization request for the ADA grant, 41K.
I don't need that,
Nate?
if you need it.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This grant is for $41,515 to conduct an ADA self-evaluation and transition plan, improving accessibility across municipal facilities, programs, and services. This couldn't have come at a better time because we will be able to have 48 Gardner Road in the mix, and these plans really set you up for future grant opportunities. So this was greatly appreciated. I was telling Jeff, and I don't know if Peter was here yet earlier, the way this came about was actually by us asking questions about our regional planning commission another regional planning commission who I had reached out to about grant work said, oh, well, we are few and far between on what we can actually do, but we are able to accept an additional town if your regional planning commission was okay with it. MRPC kind of said, yeah, you can do whatever. So I worked with CMRPC a few months ago to get this done, and they were great. That is likely who we will end up working with on this, because that's kind of why they do
Is
it.
that Central Mass?
Yeah. So it's weird, and I steal this analogy from the planning board chair. Hubbardston is one chunk out of CMRPC that should be with them that's not. Like everyone else that kind of makes sense to be CMRPC does, and Hubbardston goes the other way.
So
with the
everybody
Whistler.
around us is,
Yeah, we're a different.
why? How did they divide it up?
They drew a circle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Someone had to.
Someone drew a circle.
Someone had to, and then they had just the right amount with the
Yeah,
circle,
yeah.
yeah.
I was thinking more like dartboard.
Darts?
Yeah, dartboard.
So MRPC is how many towns?
MRPC has a lot of Worcester County, and their main community is Fitchburg. So it's Fitchburg, Leominster, Gardner, and the communities that way.
Old mill cities.
CMRPC is Worcester and the Worcester County, like kind of rural
All the
towns.
small towns.
Paxton, Rutland, all smaller towns, as far as, say, Upton, and they go that
Really?
far as well. Yeah. Yeah. There are struggles with regional planning commissions across the board. Like, there's
No.
not any that are perfect.
We didn't figure that out.
In previous
EDC.
towns, even working with CMRPC was difficult at times, but they were very, I appreciate their work with this. And I ask that you authorize me to accept the grant with the state.
We're surrounded.
Yeah,
Okay.
pretty much.
Any further comments or questions for Nate on this? If not, could I have a motion to authorize the acceptance of the ADA grant for accessibility improvements and approve the town administrator to oversee its implementation?
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and second, in the discussion, seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Yes, opposed, abstained, motion passed, okay?
Hoping that can set us up not only for 48 Gardner Road grants, but possibly even library accessibility grants as well.
Yeah.
Moving on to old business. Actually, do we have any?
Nope.
Okay. So moving on to the TA report, Nate?
All right, thank you, Mr. Chair. It's been a very, very busy time period. I was thinking about last year at this time when I was creating some busy work, and I miss it because we've been very, very, very busy. I sent out an email about the 48 Gardner Road project being included in an economic development bond bill for $150,000. While that is not cash in hand, it is very, very positive. I'd like to thank State Senator Peter Durant and State Representative Donnie Berthium for their aid in making sure that got in there. Now it is up to us in our lobbying to push for that. I've already written a email to Ann Goby's office telling her that we do want that, and it is absolutely required, and the sooner the better. Over the past 2 weeks, I've attended meetings of the Council on Aging where they discussed just the ongoing things that are happening at the COA. If you haven't taken a trip into that very, very holiday decorated room, it's a great place to go, especially after 4 p.m. when it is dark. The Capital Improvement Planning Committee.
That's so weird.
You better rephrase that.
Yeah.
Well, there
But I
are,
think it's saying
That's
there's
not-
lots of
Christmas
lights.
lights.
there are
Oh,
beautiful.
They beautifully decorated
Yeah,
the,
it's amazing.
It's the way you said it.
they beautifully decorated the COA, room that
Wait
when.
till after 4, everybody's gone.
Alright, we're all talking at the same
Sorry.
time,
Here
hold
they
on.
go.
Sorry.
It's a great.
Rein
it's
it
a
in,
real-
folks, please.
Claudia's gonna come over here.
Go ahead.
capital planning should be done next week and available for a presentation at your next meeting. I've attended the meetings of the planning board. They are making some substantial progress in different areas, especially working with Alec and Leanne. It's been a very refreshing change to see the progress that's going on and just the quick implementation of certain projects that were held up for a while.
Question,
Yes, sir.
any info on zoning? Didn't we have to get some of that changed to start moving forward with stuff?
That is a,
Planning board.
that's a loaded question.
Yes.
But it's gonna take a lot longer than a couple of weeks. Those are big community projects. The, e-permitting and legal review that was approved 2 weeks ago
Oh, okay, yeah.
is going to help us identify and prioritize what those
Where-
zoning
which way we need to
initiatives
head.
are. The
Okay.
planning board and the part-time planner do plan on having between 3 and 5 items ready for annual town meeting. Don't wanna hold them to that, cause some of those items are moving targets.
Excellent, yep.
But they do have goals of bringing different projects forward. They understand the investment that the town has made in the last year in the town planner and the additional resources in the administrative services coordinator. So I know it is on the chair's priority list to ensure that that investment is not taken for granted.
Very good, thank you.
We are working on the Civic Plus projects with the permitting and website. Patricia's going to run lead on the website project, so she's having a super fun time with that. I'm colorblind, I'm not gonna be too
Yes.
great on picking the colors and that kind of stuff. The permitting, unfortunately, right now, for between 1 and 2 weeks, we will be paper building electrical and gas permits. I hate it more than anyone could possibly hate it, but the product afterwards is going to be cheaper and more efficient for the community. It's just going to take us about 2 more weeks to iron all of that out. There will be a couple of announcements made as that is going forward. We are simply utilizing the state forms as our paper forms while we transition. I am being very optimistic and hoping that maybe no one will apply.
Well, it is the holidays,
Yeah.
I mean, it kinda like slows for a little bit.
Yep.
And the ground is starting to freeze, so
Yeah.
how many people are actually putting in septic tanks at this point?
We would.
My neighbors.
Of course.
My
There's a
new
lot.
neighbors.
There's a lot.
Yeah.
Not necessarily here, just in general, like a lot of people, because things are warmer than they normally are this
Yeah, they
time of
still
year.
do
They're
it.
trying to get all their
Yeah.
projects in
They're
before the
doing-
ground really
Yeah.
freezes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
People
get
still
that.
golfing.
It's gonna get a
Yeah, I
good
know.
beginning this week, so.
You guys will get a few emails in the next couple weeks as we transition to Microsoft 365. They're not scams, so you will be able to utilize the scheduling tools and the full suite of Microsoft Office 365 instead of Google. We'll have a training and a walkthrough as we get closer to that. It's looking like the elected officials will be part of more of a January run-through after
Thank you.
the staff.
Just, yeah, wait till January.
The digital charrette for the digital equity project is on December 16th.
I'm sorry, the digital what?
I
don't
just
know what
learned
a
the word as
Charrette.
well.
Okay, it's a pop-up. It's it's like a town hall to come in and talk about digital equity. Like, come in, complain about your internet.
Is that,
No,
that's
what's the word?
the online one?
Charrette.
That's the thing you're on.
How do you spell
Yeah.
that?
CHARRETTE.
They do-
Okay,
they
so
need
it's
one.
like Charlet, but charrette.
Nobody's gonna know what the hell that
I
means.
don't
I'm not
know.
calling it a charrette,
Okay.
and all of,
Okay.
they sent us a bunch of social media and digital website stuff. I have omitted the word charrette because no one is gonna know
They're
what that
coming
means.
here?
Yeah.
They're coming here, yep.
Okay.
Yeah, we haven't
Do I
met
have
in a
to dress
while
for that?
because
Their safety
of
password.
the special town meeting.
Safe.
So this is that one, remember you came in the afternoon that one day?
I
The
do.
second meeting of that.
Others in
Patricia's
the-
gonna be sending an email out.
That word, you know that
That's the other
word,
part
I
that I'm
don't
kind of.
So people can complain about how our internet sucks.
Mhm.
Alright, what date is that?
Oh,
December
believe me,
16th.
The
I
16th.
complained the first meeting.
Yeah, I'm sure you did.
Oh, I did.
Don't you fret, dog. Yeah.
You know me.
I know.
We should
Never
see the
silent.
awkward conversation with, try to stay away from the word equity.
Yes.
Please.
Equity charrette. Let's just put them together. No one will know what the hell we're talking about.
No, come.
Speaking of things that no one really understands, the municipal aggregation meeting had a grand total of 1 people attended. It was Jessie Alexander, and she asked wonderful questions.
Good for her.
I'm sure the residents of Hubbardston will have more questions once more parts of that come to light and there's actual pricing. Right now it's very ambiguous, so it was fun. It was me, Francois, Jesse, and the gentleman from the company.
Okay, good stuff.
Green Communities is moving forward. There should be a easement proposal from National Grid to finally get the 3-phase into the library, hopefully at your next meeting. They've been reaching out and we've been working with them, so they actually reached out to find out your names today, so
So
that
proposal, what is it gonna cost us money?
No.
Oh, okay. That sounded like it was like
it's
leading
it's
to
like a
that.
tree, it's like a poll hearing.
Okay, alright.
No.
Just making sure it's not gonna cost us money, 'cause
Nope.
I'm like, no.
No.
National Grid, no.
No. Foundation project is ongoing over there. Masonry, Murray Masonry's truck has been here for the last couple days,
Mhm.
working on it. I don't have a real update on that.
Did they dig out the front already?
I don't believe so.
Okay,
It's
alright.
just starting.
Okay, that's why I was like, I didn't see the truck.
Like I saw them once the other week and then today. So
Okay.
he's not, there's no tools there.
Okay.
Or fencing up yet.
Yeah, I was like, did I miss it?
No, it's just,
Okay.
they're
I was
in the,
like, I know it's been dark.
they're in the planning stages.
Alright.
The Williamsville Crossing project should be starting fairly soon. I know Mark Kresge's working on that. And the Williamsville Bridge project still slated for April 2025. I've been working with the 2 residents that are going to be impacted by that on their easements and their rights, as well as working with the Department of Conservation and Recreation, DCR, on applying for different applications that we need because the town will need access to state land. At first, it didn't really make sense because I felt like it was the state applying to do work on the state's land, and it was kind of weird, ridiculous, but it's the process and we're dealing with it.
Okay.
I'm anticipating that project to kick off in April. It is a $5 million project that will shut down Williamsville Road for approximately 1 year.
Jeez.
Wow. Where, the bridge?
Yeah. All, and the state is paying for everything, even design.
And how long is it gonna take me to go around?
Very long.
No, if you go down, Cruise
Yeah.
in Burnshire,
Cruise and bang a left.
I
Yeah,
can do
Route-
cruise?
Route.
yeah. No,
Yes.
not
Not
Route,
Route,
Yeah, I know.
I got like 3
the other
friends that
road
live
that's
on, yeah, I have
Williamsville.
like 3
Okay.
friends that live on.
But I can get around that way.
Yeah,
And
and
it
you
comes
end
out
up
on
on
Burnshire.
Burnshire,
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
right down by, where Missiony now the zoo people are.
You can go up Mount Jeff too, right?
Church.
Can you go up Mount Jeff that way and get that way too?
You'll come out in Templeton.
Oh, okay, there's no.
Yeah.
Come
Alright.
out on New Westminster, on New Templeton, and have to go back around.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you'd have to.
That's a
Yeah,
long
alright.
That would be a,
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah, I will have more on that when we have more on that.
So, now in relation to the bridge, which is at the bottom of the hill?
Yeah, it's pretty close.
Where the water
to-
comes through?
Thompson.
Where are those,
Thompson
deer
Road.
crossing lights going up?
Is that
Well, I know it's
past it?
pedestrian
I
lights.
thought it was past.
Yeah, that's
towards the
on,
very-
that's
Towards the tail
on the
end of
road that connects Williamsville and Burnshire, the one that goes into Barry. So you're already
Oh, that road,
after
that's
that
where they're
stop,
going?
yeah, so
Oh, I thought they were going to Williamsville.
that is
It is on
Williamsville.
Williamsville.
Oh, it turns into Williamsville.
Yeah.
Burnshire to the, oh,
Yeah,
oh, I didn't
Burnshire
know
goes
that.
this way,
Okay.
Williamsville goes this way.
Oh, all right, I didn't know that. So
it's
that's where the
Thompson
trail
Road.
comes out
So
up there?
Cruise goes into Thompson, which ends up on Burnshire,
Yeah,
and then from goes to Williamsville, and you go out to Barry from
Okay.
Williamsville.
all right, yeah, I was just out there the other day.
Yeah. So it's like right, you know, like when you are you at the stop,
Yep.
and there's that wall,
Yep,
at like almost at the end of the wall.
That's where
there's
the
the
lights are
old
going?
rail trail.
oh,
Yeah.
okay. all
Yeah,
right.
there used to be railroad tracks back
You'll
there.
know once the sign goes up.
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
Yeah, we're working on scheduling the police right now.
for that
Yep.
job.
Under 48 Gardner Road, which is a lot.
A lot.
Paul Sweeney has been brought on as a impromptu maintenance man under his seasonal hours, once I found out that we could pay individuals from the revolving fund. So Paul has begun painting and installing lights. It's been great. I went in there today and we ran around the building looking at fuse boxes. I got fed up. I went and got my buddy who's an electrician, came back, figured it out, where it's all other things as described, or as not undescribed. That's that part of my job description.
Yes.
As needed.
As needed, yeah.
Needed.
Mass DOT is moving
Not
tomorrow.
needed.
I would like to thank Travis and the DPW for sort of agreeing to help them. So Travis and the DPW
Sort of.
will be helping them move tomorrow. Oregon Cleaner cleaned the rugs on the second floor last Friday.
Alright.
And they will be doing the Mass DOT area or the temporary town hall once it's empty. And then Paul will go through in paint. He has promised that he will put down protective covers as to not get paint on the floor. The designers are being interviewed on Thursday evening. That meeting is being held in executive session. At his request, the Public Safety Building Committee did invite Jeff to the meeting, because he was at the last meeting. They interviewed the two design companies, which I had sent you their packets, and will be choosing one on Thursday night in executive session. Due to the Christmas fair and Claudia setting up beautifully, the meeting's going to be at 48 Gardner Road in the fire department conference room, so that we don't impact the
Yeah,
seniors
mess up her stuff.
setting up.
Yeah.
Paul Varney is doing his Paul Varney thing, and he's someday going to get all of the paperwork with the Mass DEP done, and we will give him back his $5,000 and move forward from there. Patricia and I are going to go walk around with Valley Communications on Wednesday. We will be exploring where they need to run Cat5 wires in order to have
phones.
no, we don't need anything for phones, but we need hardwire for the computers.
For the what?
The computers.
The phones we implemented a cloud-based system for that reason, so that we don't need to.
You're hardwiring the computers and not doing Wi-Fi?
Well, there's still gonna be Wi-Fi, but the desktops, our workstations need to be hardwired in for security reasons.
Less security risk.
I'm gonna find out exactly why, but
Less risk.
Okay.
Who told you that?
it's Wednesday. Valley Communications and Paul. I do trust Paul's opinion on
I
certain
don't
things,
know, I'm just
but-
asking who told you. You
Yeah.
don't gotta explain it to me, she's got a look on her face, so that's why
I'm
I'm
gonna look
questioning
into
that
it.
look.
No, we're talking servers and wiring on Wednesday. No, I don't have pricing yet. I told them that if this is something that we need to do, we need to do it quickly. Because hey, we can probably do this in January, it's December 2nd. So we're gonna begin
Probably do this in January.
outlining that shortly.
In the snow.
I've been working with Brittany Blaney Anderson and the town clerk and a few other people to set up a potential temporary meeting space in what used to be the realty space.
Okay.
We are going to be knocking down almost all of the walls in
It's
that
not
room.
load bearing?
It's not load bearing.
Hey, nice.
And so I have Valley View is a butcher. Valley Communications giving a quote to Brittany and I because they engineer meeting spaces. I'm hoping to be able to have a more movable meeting space, like set up card tables so that when there is a
Card
meeting.
tables?
Well, fancy card tables.
Fancy
Like,
card tables.
So that when there is a public hearing, the public hearing can be speaking to the board. When there is a meeting like this, the tables can be set up. When there is a training, everything can be moved out of the way. I'm looking for it to be a more inclusive room Because this table is a one-trick pony.
Yes, this is a very not movable,
Yeah.
stationary front.
Yeah.
It's like a pool table.
Yes,
Did you
it's
find
not
did
going
you find
anywhere.
the select board office space yet for us?
There's so much space in that.
Okay.
Oh, you got the closet upstairs.
Next to
in the
Katie's
corner.
bench.
Next to my bench.
Um,
Good stuff.
New Kappa is starting probably tomorrow. They were supposed to start on Friday, but it didn't work
Up
out.
there.
Oh, on the
So,
roof?
Oh, okay, I'm
So,
gonna lose the Kappa. This
you,
is-
how much more you got to go on that? Cause I got something I wanna bring up about 48.
Yes,
Yeah,
three
it's-
things.
It's that thing we're talking about earlier.
Three things. I'd like to thank the following staff members. Everyone does a wonderful job, but in the past few weeks, these people have really showed up. Sarah Risch, who has been with us for maybe 3 months, has been doing a wonderful job in Mary's absence. This was really a trial by fire for her, and I think in the long term, I don't wish bad things on anybody, but Mary's absence made Sarah a stronger employee, and I think it's going to be very positive for her in the long run. She learned a lot in a very short amount of time and didn't really have any training wheels, so.
Do you, insert anything in their file, like a letter of accommodation or anything?
If you suggested that I did that, I could do that.
Okay, we gotta vote on that?
I would ask that you suggested that,
I
but
think
also remember the
for
precedents
anybody.
that sets.
Yeah.
Goes above and beyond.
Yeah,
You know?
just remember the precedents that something like that would set and how often we wanna do that, cause we do have a lot of employees, many employees that do
Do them all at once.
very, very wonderful things.
No, I understand that,
Almost
but
constantly,
it should be on the administrator of each department to do their own,
yeah.
not the town administrator.
Oh,
You know what I mean? So.
Speak with Mary.
A piece of paper goes a long way, I'm
It
telling
does.
you,
It does.
a long way.
Yeah, I mean,
And I've discussed this with you guys before,
yeah.
about.
Yeah, I don't think Peter's talking about like raises or anything, he's just talking about at least having it in the file, so that way.
In a file, so they can use it to their benefit, or just let it just lie there. You know, cause sometimes 20 years down the road, you're looking for something to.
Especially something like that, I agree,
Yes.
showing up not even 90 days into your new role and
Yeah,
having
running the whole
to,
office.
having to
Yeah.
run a whole office for
Yeah,
almost
no,
3
she
weeks
does an
was
awesome job.
no small task. Everyone helped,
And
but
she
it was
always
very,
greeting, very, yeah.
Very pleasant, yep.
Yeah.
right. And Tricia, I would like to thank her for doing the gifts with the
You talk about going above and beyond.
staff gifts, those were wonderful.
Thank
Also,
you.
thank you to Katie for organizing that event, it was well received.
I want
and-
something in my file.
I
There
thought
probably is a file somewhere.
I thought
on
we
me.
don't talk about your.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
We'll take one thing out of your.
Yes,
file.
okay.
Yours
Thank
has
you.
a skull and crossbones
I know.
on it.
We don't read this, it'll be bad.
And Mel did a wonderful job with the election, like she really went above
Everybody, I mean,
and
they really,
beyond.
listen, I think everybody's gelling awesome right now. I mean,
Everybody's getting along for
yeah, I mean, morale seems to be better as far as I'm concerned, and even with, you know, the other, you know, DPW, I mean, you're not hearing any grumbling really. I mean, maybe it doesn't get this far.
None of them stay long enough.
Shh. No, they're all saying shush.
Yeah.
So is-
Well, it's a slow time right now for construction companies, so
So is that?
let them get all trained.
That is it. Peter had a question.
You had a question for him before we leave the
I
town
don't know whether I should bring it up.
Bring it up, just rip the Band-Aid off.
Plumbing,
We're working on it.
48.
We're working on it.
Working on it.
I understand that, but the longer we let it go, the more it costs us, right?
I'm,
And I know you're aware of it. Is it just coming in and putting in a rubber section just to get us, cut that bad section out and just fixing it so stuff doesn't get stuck there?
I'm actively,
It's costing us hundreds of dollars a
I'm
week.
actively texting with the pipe guy.
Yeah.
Like, so we're.
Have they snaked it to look
Every time.
like with the scope?
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
The most
so he's
rec-
looking and
We
it's
saw
Every
that.
single
Roto
time he's
Rooter,
gone
I saw
there,
that
he's
thing. Yeah,
he snaked it from the roof, he snaked it from paws and claws from the other side,
He showed us
he's
the
done it.
trouble spot.
okay.
Yeah.
And,
Because one of the design interviews slash tours went through while he was in there with a camera, so
Okay.
he was able to show them, cause he cleaned out a rust deposit, he
Okay.
really,
Okay, so he's doing good.
He's doing great. My questions preceding this is, what was the space used for before she got there for a year? Was it feasible to put something like a yoga studio in there? And there's just a whole bunch of questions that just can't
So
be answered.
it was empty for.
let's not talk about any of
Yeah,
the
but
specific
like-
tenants.
Yeah.
But no,
Yeah,
like,
you
Well,
wanna
it's
have-
not
these
anyone's
are the
specific,
plumbing
yeah.
questions that are now coming out of having
I
someone
don't
come
care
in and
who's in
snake
there,
them.
it's gonna be an issue sooner or later. It
Yeah.
doesn't matter who's in there.
I'm speaking with him, I may repurpose the new toilet and put it in the yoga studio to see, well, that unit, to see if,
Too late. Well, it's a question on if the toilet
But the toilet, it's
isn't-
the pipe that's the problem, right? It's the pipe.
well, if there's not enough water pushing behind, like enough.
Well, you put a turbo toilet in. the one
Well,
that
that's
goes-
a newer one will compare to the old jalopy that's in there.
Yeah, they only use a couple gallons, but they have this pressure thing in
Yes,
it,
they
it makes
go
pressure.
a lot better, so it
Correct.
might work better.
Yeah.
So it sounds like we ran into some plumbing challenges that we're actively working
we're
through.
Yeah.
Every week.
Yep.
Every week it has cost us hundreds of dollars.
and we're working on it.
Okay.
The tenant is also
Trying very hard.
trying hard and
Mhm.
having a hard time with this as well.
Yeah.
So we're working with,
Hey.
them, everybody's been working their very best, and
Yeah.
Roto-Rooter has.
It's old cast
come
iron pipes and it's
every
flaky.
time we've asked.
Yeah, if the toilet trick doesn't work, then you're gonna have to like seal that part of the pipe or put a sleeve or something. They're gonna do something
Cut it out,
with
put a new part.
Yeah.
So when you have an update, Nate, you
keep
will get us an update.
Yeah, keep
Yep.
us updated on that, all right.
Thank you. Yep.
Um,
I don't have some questions.
we don't have any policies review that I'm aware of.
Yes, you do.
Oh, excuse me, the sign,
So
yeah,
I am
sign board
recommending the rescission
policy.
of the signboard policy. The police chief has also supported this rescission. With the new electronic sign policy, no one besides the DPW has used the old signboard, and we are actively trying to remove policies that do not.
Oh,
Need to be there.
so that's what this has to do. I
This
was
is the
wondering where, I
old-
was like,
no,
I don't
this
remember
is-
those lines.
Yes,
The form.
those are that one, the one that the DPW has.
In the past, there were some confusing times between the former police chief and different people wanting to put things on the sign that used to be right around where the electronic sign is now.
Taxes
So-
due.
So they made this, and now the only person that writes on the sign is Travis, and if somebody wanted to, I do trust Travis to ensure that it is appropriate.
Mr. Chairman, would you accept a motion?
Yes,
I'd like to move to rescind the signboard usage policy.
Second.
just gotta read.
I think that, I
Okay.
think my motion.
I think that's enough, all right.
Thank you for the short motion,
Yeah.
Heather.
Okay, motion made and second. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Yes, opposed, abstained, motion passed. Okay, under matters not reasonably anticipated by the chair, I have to recognize that, and I'll thank Alice Lidwell for the time that she has given to the town and so forth, but she has, submitted her resignation on the Community Preservation Committee. So, we thank Alice and, we'll move from there.
You'll need to accept her.
And we accept the resignation, yep.
Mr. Chairman, I'd make a motion to accept the resignation of Alice Lipdahl from the Community Preservation Committee.
Second.
Motion made in second, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Yes, opposed, motion passed. Okay,
Can I add one thing under not reasonably anticipated?
yes,
So I know we just had our recent special town meeting, and I just wanted to acknowledge and thank Nate for all the work he does in moving us forward. We get out information in so many different avenues at Nate's lead, between getting it electronically, putting it on the website, getting people to come to a public hearing, getting a lot of people to come to a public hearing, providing people an opportunity to participate, whether it's in person, whether it's online, whether it's on Facebook. You know, you really have broadened the scope of how we get information out, and really have tried hard, and I think in many times have been very successful at meeting people where they're at. One thing I'd be really interested to see at some point in the future when we're looking at other town meetings is just looking historically at what our attendance rates have been to meetings. Remember last year, we had a lot of very heated debate about potentially reducing the quorum size.
Yep.
Cause we often struggled with getting a quorum. In this last meeting, we had around, about 100 people,
Yeah, a little over.
which is a very large number for the town of Hubbardston for a special town meeting. So I think it'd be great to have those pieces, just so we can further discuss about, you know, how far we've come, and, you know, always interested in improving pieces and so forth. But Nate, great job, and thank you so much for all of your work on that.
Second that.
His contract. No,
No.
just kidding. No, I mean, I've seen it 3 years, it's just, this town, just in grant money alone, the amount of money that's come in this town in the past 2 years anyways.
Are you bridging onto something else?
I'm not.
Oh, okay.
It's a team effort, like, the communications plan will be coming out later this year. I appreciate you bringing that up. Communications is one of my favorite parts of my job, so,
Nate loves a good memo.
I love it.
Yeah.
He does.
He's very colorful,
Anyone else have any?
even though he doesn't have any
Matters not
color
reasonably
sets.
anticipated by the chair. Okay, moving on, public press, nothing.
Oh.
All right, we will be moving into executive session. The reason being, Mass General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 21A2, to conduct a strategy session in preparation for negotiations with non-union personnel or conduct contract negotiations. Like a motion to move into the executive session under Mass General Law, Chapter 30A, Section 21A2, and we will return to open session for the sole purpose of adjournment.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and second, this is a roll call vote. Any discussion? Okay, so, Peter,
Yes.
Heather,
Yes.
Katie,
Yes.
Jeff, yes. Okay,